Hi guys, Mike back again with just another a little tale, if you will, about my airbrushing history, my airbrushes, but predominantly some excellent customer services that I've recently experienced. And I mean, that's the predominant reason for this video. Those of you that haven't watched the previous video, excuse my voice, I've got some sort of cold. Anyway, you'll see that I've got three boxes that are exactly the same. These three boxes hold the Badger Renegade Velocity airbrush. This is an airbrush from Badger. Badger is a manufacturer of airbrushes and airbrush supplies and paints. They're based in the US, and they do some mighty fine airbrushes. Now, when I first started, I'm going to move these to the side a second. When I first started airbrushing, when I first started airbrushing, you go through the initial kind of, what am I going to do? So you end up buying a cheap compressor and a cheap airbrush from eBay because you can. And in fairness, my compressor that sits over there has been going for a long time, and I'm expecting a breakdown, any time, which is fine. I mean, I think the whole kit, the compressor and two cheap airbrushes, cost me about 65 quid, and that air compressor is suiting my needs absolutely fine at the moment. So I'm kind of looking at the moment to upgrade. Anyway, so with that compressor on eBay, you'll see you get an airbrush like this. This is a cheap, they call them the cheap Chinese airbrushes, and they work they're fine. They're fine to start off with. They're absolutely fine. 65 quid to get you into it is good money, in my opinion. This is a double action airbrush, and it means that when you press down on the trigger, you get air, and when you pull back, you get paint. So you can regulate the amount of paint you're getting through or the amount of air that's coming through. So yeah, I mean, these are great airbrushes, and the good thing about this one as well is it's gravity fed. So you pour the paint into the cup. This particular airbrush comes with 3 different cup sizes, and off you go. So you are spraying away. This airbrush I use at the moment for varnishing miniatures. This is all I use it for. I did used to use it for painting. It got gummed up, and the trigger wouldn't press down. It was in a permanent down, and I couldn't get it to move. But it's since fixed, and that's part of my story. So yeah, cheap Chinese airbrush. I had 2 of these, and I've only got the one now. And I've got my compressor, and you get all the hoses and stuff. So lovely. Right, so that was it. So I wanted to graduate, I suppose. Wanted to get into a better airbrush, better quality. So what I did was I did lots of research, as you tend to do, or that's me anyway. I do lots of research, and I didn't want to spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds. And you can spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds. I mean, you can buy airbrushes for sort of £300 upwards, which is expensive. For the skill I have airbrushing, and for the amount of airbrushing I do, 300. I can't justify £300. So what I did is I wanted to get a middle of the road airbrush that was a decent airbrush that was going to last, and could do everything really. That could double action, gravity fed. Because I'd experienced that with the cheap Chinese version. And what I did was bought a Badger Renegade Velocity. Now this is my 3rd Badger Velocity. Renegade is the series. They do a couple of different series. There's a Velocity and a Chrome. The Chrome's more expensive. So it comes in a nice case. And this is the airbrush. This is my 3rd one. Okay, and I'm going to tell you why. So I love this airbrush. It's really nice, compact, light, nice to hold. You can change the needle and nozzle setup from ultra fine to fine, so it gives you anything from spraying the width of a hair to the width of an inch. I use this airbrush for base coating, for priming models. I really like this airbrush. So this is my 3rd one. Okay, now this is the story. So 3rd airbrush. There we go. My first airbrush was the Renegade Velocity. We know that. This is so we got my current one here. There we go. Then we got the 3rd one. The first one here it's exactly the same, you say. Exactly the same as that one, which it is. It's the same airbrush. I broke this airbrush. Again, back in my inexperienced days of airbrushing, I broke it. What happened? I've taken the front housing off, you'll be able to see, compared to this one. So there's a housing there. So you've got the horns, which regulate the paint flow. Then you've got this cap, which holds on the nozzle. And then you can see the needle tip there. And there's a nozzle that the needle comes through so paint can come out of it. And obviously the needle being pulled back, you won't be able to see it. The needle being pulled back lets paint come out of the nozzle. Anyway, so nozzle goes in here, then the cap gets screwed on, then the horns get screwed on that. Right, what I did, so this is just a fair warning, I suppose, for people inexperienced with airbrushes. These screw on, these tighten up by hand. These just screw on, screw off. What I did, you'll notice that the front of this airbrush is a bit damaged. It's damaged, it's chipped, it's dented. And again, I mean, preaching to the converted, I'm sure this is a precision piece of kit. This is a precision piece of engineering, and it doesn't like pairs of pliers being applied to it. Right, what happened is that paint got gummed up in the hole. I took the cap, I took the horns off, took the screw cap off, took the nozzle out, tried to clean in here, put the nozzle back in, screwed it all back up with my hand. Then it all just got stuck. It all got stuck because the paint kind of glued the nozzle into this, right? So, and I couldn't get the cap off, I couldn't get the horns off, couldn't get anything off. You can see, right? See on the front of there that it's completely broken. It's completely messed up. So what I did, I got a pair of pliers and twisted the cap off, and in by doing so, chipped the front of the airbrush, basically. Let's get some focus. It wants to focus on that box. Okay. Yeah, so you can see that it's completely damaged. And when the front of the airbrush is damaged, air escapes through the hole, and the airbrush doesn't work, basically. So this is toast. This airbrush is broken. And that was my mistake. That was my fault. Although, as you'll see, all of these parts are reusable. So you've got the back of the airbrush. I've taken it all apart. But, you know, this, I could use that for a spare, use this for a spare, use the trigger for a spare. There's a spring in there that I could use for a spare. Anyway, so again, that was my fault. So that was that. So learn by your mistakes. That's £100. This retails for just about £100. So I think that's, you know, it's a good middle of the road airbrush, decent airbrush. So that was that. So it went away. I put it away and stored it. You know, you never know when you might need spares. Anyway, so that was that. Right. So airbrush number 2 comes in. Airbrush number 2 comes in. So I like the velocity. You know, good price, £100. I like that. And there we go. So this is Badger Renegade Velocity number 2. And you can see the front of this one. Look at that. There's no damage on it because I learned from my mistake and I didn't use a pair of pliers on it. So no damage on that one. Right. What happened was this one broke too. And this was kind of my fault, but there we go. I bought an ultrasonic cleaner to clean my airbrush. I was cleaning number 1 airbrush by hand, just putting it in water, soaking it, whatever. And it kind of worked, it kind of didn't. But I bought an ultrasonic cleaner and I thought, right, I'm going to get an ultrasonic cleaner to clean my airbrushes, which I did. And it works a treat, cleans them up lovely. And in fact, this one, remember, Chinese airbrush number 1, where the trigger was gummed down and I couldn't use it. I chucked this in ultrasonic cleaner and it fixed it, and I can use this airbrush now for varnishing. Okay, so that's that. So I was chucking everything, and I was taking this all apart. I can't, maybe once a fortnight, once a month, maybe. I do airbrushing. I keep it clean, keep it all, you know, in good order. And then I chuck everything. I take it all apart, chuck it all in the ultrasonic cleaner, and that was it. So I've had this airbrush for about a year and a half. I bought it in February 2015. And this happened. Yeah, that just came out, and that's bad, incidentally. For those of you that are uninitiated, the air hose attaches to this. This is clearly supposed to be soldered or attached, you know, properly into. So this housing is supposed to be attached properly into the airbrush body. So again, the air doesn't come out because the air is coming up through this cylinder into the body of the airbrush and out at quite high pressure, potentially, sort of 60. I mean, my compressor goes up to about 60 psi. Not that I'm painting at 60 psi, but clearly the airbrush should be able to take 60 psi. So anyway, this came out, bang, broken. Oh no, this airbrush is useless. I can't do anything with this, clearly. I thought about gluing this back in. I wasn't really sure if I thought maybe I could heat them up or cool them down or something. But then I figured it must have been soldered in because it fits back in. So I figured if it was like a heated up joint where you heat the metal and it expands and you put it in and cool it. But that's not the case, it would seem. So anyway, this is broken. So that was that. So there. That's what instigated me buying airbrush number 3. This one will not be going in the ultrasonic cleaner. I will take it apart. I will put the nozzle in the ultrasonic cleaner, the bits and bobs, but the body will not be going in the ultrasonic cleaner. Anyway, I'm not 100% sure if this caused the damage, the ultrasonic cleaner caused this damage, but I emailed Badger just asking for advice, really. I mean, I've been using an airbrush for quite a number of years now, and like I say, my skills are improving. But again, I mean, I don't know. So I emailed Badger and sent them pictures and said, this has happened. I've been chucking it in the ultrasonic cleaner, incidentally. Could that have potentially damaged it? Because if it potentially has damaged it, and this is the warning to you all guys out there, if it has potentially damaged it, if this soldered joint is been affected by the vibration of the ultrasonic cleaner and has worked its way out over time, over a year and a half, and again, this has probably only been ultrasonically cleaned maybe 20 times in that period, maybe. So I mean, it's not that many times. So if you're going to ultrasonic clean it every week, I mean, you're looking at less than half a year, and potentially that'd be that this joint would work its way out. So I emailed them and said, is that a possibility? And they don't know without looking at it, I suppose. And they said, well, maybe it could be, but we don't recommend you put the body of the airbrush in the ultrasonic cleaner because it is a soldered joint. So they confirmed that, and over time it could work its way loose. Lovely, I said. Thank you very much for your time. But Ken, who runs Badger / owns Badger, I suppose, he seems to be the main guy. So apologies if anyone from Badger has been offended by that. I don't know if he owns it or he runs it or he manages it or it's his company. He said, first things first, what's your address? We'll send you a new body. I was like, okay, really? Okay. Gave him my address before he changed his mind. And today, I always like getting posts from the States. I got posts from the States. So, and he sends me the flipping airbrush shell for a Velocity. I can't believe it. I can believe it because he said he was going to send it. But it just comes in a shell. So, he said that. He said, I'm just going to send you the body. So this soldered joint is clearly there. All of the parts from my other 2 airbrushes, which I saved. So, I mean, obviously... So in this housing, it's all of that valve stuff, that all the valve springs and things. So all I need to do is take my 2 old airbrushes apart and cannibalize the parts from those to rebuild this. So I can, obviously this is useless, so I can take all the valve and stuff out of here and just, because you can see it unscrews. Not with a pair of pliers though. Don't screw it with a pair of pliers. So I can just rebuild this airbrush, basically. So I've got all the bits. And he sent me another Velocity shell. I can't, and I'm really, really grateful. I mean, that's just wonderful customer service. I mean, it does say in the instructions that it has got a manufacturer's warranty for, I think it says life, I'm pretty sure it says life. And I wasn't expecting it because I figured that I'd potentially cause that damage because, I've been chucking it in the ultrasonic cleaner. I can't remember, but it certainly does have a manufacturer's warranty on it. I did read it somewhere because I kind of looked and I thought, oh, maybe I could moan about it and get a new one. But I figured it's my fault because I've broken it because I put it in ultrasonic cleaner. So I wanted to be honest with the guy. I wanted to, which I was, said, I've put this in the ultrasonic cleaner. Have I destroyed my own airbrush? And he said, yeah, probably you have. But just because it's fantastic customer service and he's a flipping top bloke, he sends me a new Velocity shell. you know, and you know he's doing it, and he said he was going to do it, but I'm still speechless when it drops through the door and it's here, and I can't believe it. I mean, that's absolutely cool. I mean, I have bought another one since, because I mean, I bought the other one before I emailed him, so now I've got two velocities. So yeah, so that's spot on. I mean, so thank you, Ken at Badger. I mean, I know you'll never watch this video, I'm sure, but you know, I just wanted to say thank you for that, because it's just really nice, you know, and you know, I'm really enjoying my collection of Badger material. And I know two of them are broken, but then, like I said, I can cannibalize the parts from the broken ones to create my new one, which is lovely. So yeah, that's it. I just wanted to big up Badger airbrushes, because the customer service is fantastic, and I'm really, really grateful. So yeah, that's it for this one. Thanks guys, catch you on the next one.